Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here this lovely Monday morning with David. And today we are talking about the impact of our energy. The Weekly Energy Boost is your 7-day spiritual weather forecast, where every week David and I, and sometimes some guests, pride ourselves on providing our listeners with the most powerful and practical wisdom and tools to navigate not only the coming week, but situations that you may encounter in all of your lives. And today's episode, while completely and totally focused on this week's energy, is actually going to be a kind of Q&A. We receive questions from our listeners, not only in our social media posts during our live episodes, but also via email from our website. And we are bombarded with questions every week. And we put together all of the questions surrounding today's topic as a new way to let the wisdom and the tools unfold. So we also want to hear about what you think about this format. Usually David and I independently compile a list of things we'd like to talk about on the topic, and then we sort of ping pong back and forth with our ideas, which almost every single week are very close, if not identical, which is one of the things that helps me know we are on the right path. We are on the right track with what we're trying to share here. But really, we want to not only empower those of you who are listening with the wisdom that's going to help you not only be prepared for the opportunities this week, but also the challenges that might come up. The Weekly Energy Boost is also a way for you to inspire, to have something to share, to inspire the people around you who might not be handling what's on their plate right now, or might be looking for ways to become stronger or more aligned, more connected in different ways. And so we hope that this week is one of those episodes that you feel really resonates, and not only resonates with you, but will resonate with others. David, anything you want to share before we start firing?
Well, I have a whole host of questions here from people and you that I think I would love to address and just go through it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. And I think this is a really powerful question. It's all circling around energy and how we can get energy, how we give energy, how we preserve energy. I think that one of the hottest supplements out there, people want energy, right? People are always kind of trying to solve for sleep and anxiety, or how to have balanced energy that doesn't crash. And energy preservation is a big part of having happiness in our lives. So I think people want to know the Kabbalistic take and the spiritual take of all that. So how can we receive energy? And I think that to understand this question, the foundation of all Kabbalistic teaching is whatever you want to receive is what you need to let go of. Our attachment to something is the reason why we have a toxic relationship with it. And that goes with everything in this world. That goes with food. That goes with wealth. That goes with fame or respect. That goes with relationships. Whenever you feel you need something, you must have it in order to feel good. And if you don't have it, you're going to feel bad. You have this relationship with that very thing that you want will always be not favorable. It will always be toxic. You always have ups and downs. If you kind of look at your life right now, you say, where is it smooth? Where in my life do I feel that I don't have chaos? I don't have the ups and downs, what we call the tree of knowledge, good and evil. It's good, it's bad, it's good, it's bad. Where do I not have that? It's probably the very area where you don't feel that you have an attachment, a neediness, fear and worry around that. And that's probably the area that will be smooth. And it all depends on your soul's correction, which area that will probably be when you're born. But the areas where we can let go, that's where we can actually receive. And when the receiving becomes so intense, where you become attached to it again, then the chaos comes again. So it's all about, how do I manage the energy of something without being attached to it and being needy of it? It's very subtle, but it is the secret to longevity in anything and everything. So how does a person receive energy? Question first that needs to be asked is, how attached are they to needing to receive it? Wanting something is different than needing it.
What's the answer?
What's the answer to what?
Meaning the solution. How do you just let it go? You're making it sound like it's a on and off switch that we have.
Our teacher, the Rav, would say it begins as a head trip and almost as a game in the beginning, which is you asking yourself, why do I want something? Why am I pursuing this? Should I receive this? What are the secrets to wealth? I remember hearing in one of the classes of the 10 luminous emanations, Rav Berg said, if you want to keep a blessing that's been given to you in any area, so maybe it's love, wealth, some gift, strength, children, whatever, wisdom, you ask the Creator, why me? Like you're pushing it away. It's almost like you let go in your mind. It's a head trip. You just let go of it for a moment. And what it does is it activates its energy. So letting go is a very powerful. It doesn't mean you actually have to go destroy this thing that's in front of you or actually let it go. It doesn't mean you let go of the relationship and go find another relationship. What it means is you're asking yourself the question, am I attached? Am I afraid to lose it? Am I treating this person as my source of energy, as my God? And if I am, well, I need to go through that head trip of saying, it's okay. I don't want to have that kind of a relationship with it. And maybe it means that physically I need to let go. A lot of times people make a lot of comments. In a relationship, when we love someone, or we care about someone, or care about something, we make a lot of comments. We over-involve ourselves. We criticize. We say this, we say that. Why? Because we're attached to the process. And then it's also a problem if you're detached, right? We're not saying to be detached. We're saying to be involved, but to let go. Be involved, but let go. It's very hard. It's very hard to be involved and let go. It's either easier to not be involved or to be overly controlling. And that, whatever that is in the middle, to be involved but let go, that's the secret right there.
What David is talking about, in my humble opinion, requires a serious degree of self-awareness that I think when we're very attached to something, we might not even have that degree of awareness of how overly attached or controlling or fixated we are to that thing. And I think one of the pivotal moments that happens in a spiritual person's life, and this is really... I think this is one of the reasons that this week's topic, is that spiritual energy is not always perceivable. What does that mean? It's funny because over the winter break, we took a spiritual trip with our family to Israel. And as parents of young children, we try to make the trip fun and also spiritually meaningful. So we drag our kids to energy centers of the world and also fun things like chocolate making and horseback riding. And so at some point I said to my daughter, the famous 8-year-old who I talk about a lot on the show because she is a little me, she's like, why are we here? It's so boring. And I said to her, we're here to get energy. And she said, but I don't feel any energy. And I think that it's an important conversation to have as well today, because even though I'm sure most of our listeners are not 8 years old and thinking about energy as it relates to, am I having fun? Do I feel good right now? Or do I feel bad right now? Or am I empty right now? Spiritual energy is something very subtle. And it's a teaching lesson that our teacher, Rav Berg, shared when he got from his his teacher, Rob Brandwein, they spent a weekend together, and it was so spiritually powerful and uplifting. And the Rav wrote to Rob Brandwein saying, wow, it was so powerful. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to have the next one with you. And Rob Brandwein's response was, don't go there. Don't allow yourself to be fooled by the high that you felt or the instant gratification. Don't waste the energy on getting high. And it also happens, back in the day, we used to have these huge events with thousands of people. And there was, people who were either like at the front by the stage, cheering, dancing, screaming like they're at a Rolling Stones concert. And then there's the other people that are just sitting back, quietly taking it all in. And it's important to distinguish that spiritual energy is not something that necessarily makes you feel high in the moment. I think that when we're on a spiritual journey, especially in the beginning, it can become confusing. And what we mentioned before, also in last week's episode, when you start on a spiritual path and you use the wisdom and the tools and you see the results, it is invigorating. It is exciting. You feel good. And there is a spiritual reason for that. The Zohar talks about how when you begin a spiritual journey, you're like a baby learning to walk, right? The creator, when a baby is born, the parent takes the child from point to point, from place to place. They cannot walk, they cannot talk, they cannot feed themselves or clean themselves. So the parent is there to do everything, every step of the way. The Zohar says that that's what a spiritual journey is like in the beginning, that the creator is there every step of the way, hand-holding, feeding you spiritual Cheerios and applesauce, literally doing everything for you. And the more capable and strong you get, the more the parent backs off. Same way that when a baby, a child is learning to walk, right? In the beginning, the parent holds hands and protects from every little bump and scrape. But eventually, if the child is going to learn to walk, the parent has to take a step back. And that happens on everybody's spiritual journey. That one day you wake up and you realize, wait a second, it doesn't feel so good anymore. Why do I not feel sparks and fireworks every time I smile at someone or I do something outside of my comfort zone? The reason is that as you develop your spiritual prowess, you're then capable on your own of generating that energy. And that energy is not something that you feel with any organ in your body. That is the energy that's revealed in an ideal situation is banked in a reservoir so that when you need the right words, when you need the right opportunities, when you're looking to make the meaningful connections and the lasting fulfillment, you have that bank to withdraw from. And I think that sometimes when we're looking to get high in the moment, we want a spiritual experience that's going to make us feel good right now. We're shortchanging ourselves. Right? We're reaching for the proverbial Diet Coke, right? I want all the caffeine with none of the calories, and I'm not thinking about the long-term effects of the chemicals and everything else. Not to say that spirituality is chemically based, but that the looking for the instant gratification, even on a spiritual level, is shortchanging ourselves. And this is the week that the universe is really asking us to evaluate what's the purpose of this conversation. You're going to be shown this week the ways that you get false energy, fake energy that may feel good for a moment, but then deteriorates. And you're going to be exposed to ways to access long-lasting energy, long-lasting fulfillment. So we wanted to answer these questions and have this conversation so that it's clear and at the forefront of everybody's consciousness this week, what's real and lasting, what serves me, and versus what feels good for the moment, but in the end isn't leading me toward where I want to go.
A powerful concept that I spoke to somebody about a couple of weeks ago was sharing how every couple of months I try to make a trip like you for a weekend, like a spiritual retreat, and spend time with some students and my teacher and Michael Berg. And I remember saying to this person that I would travel from LA to New York, or even I remember one time I traveled from here to Israel for just 2 days to spend time with some of our colleagues. And I said that I learned some of the best secrets for my life from these people. Now, what's interesting is these people don't live in Israel. Some of them live here next to me. But something about when I flew all the way across the world and I listened to them I revealed more secrets than if I just had stayed here in my comfort zone and talked with them in the hallway. Or maybe I just pick up the phone and call them. Why do I need to fly across the world to talk to them? And what I've learned, just even unconsciously, and this is why I kind of love to make this effort every couple months, is that my flying across the world to talk to someone reveals more secrets than if I just pick up the phone and call them. Why? Because of the effort I made and the amount of obstacles I had to overcome, including my own body's comfort, to be in the presence of that person. Just to ask them the same question I could ask them over the phone. What do you think I should do for this? And what they share with me in person, thousands of miles away, it could have been the same words, by the way. And it could have even been with the same energy. But my vessel would have been too small if I had stayed in my comfort zone to receive the real message. So what's my point here? My point here is, you could, if you want to get an answer about life, and Moses himself, let's say Moses lived in New York.
Nepal.
Nepal. Let's say Moses lived in Nepal.
On a mountaintop.
And you wanted to know who your soulmate is. And you had two options. Pick up the phone and call Moses, and he picks up and he'll tell you who your soulmate is. Versus fly to Nepal, climb the mountain, go in front of him and ask, and he'll tell you the same answer. Right? Soulmate's the same soulmate. But in one scenario, you actually can hear the message and manifest it. In the other scenario, it will just be words, because you don't have the vessel. The vessel is created by the effort. So a lot of people, they wait for things to happen. They wait for people to inspire them. They wait for circumstances to go their way. What are they waiting for? They're waiting for this 1,000 watts of energy called their soulmate, called success, called wisdom, called feeling good about myself. Let's call it 1,000 watts of energy. Somehow fit in my tiny 20-watt bulb. And you wait and you wait. And the reason why nothing really happens or chaos happens is because the chaos then needs to stretch you and expand you to capture 1,000 watts of energy. So the point is, what are you doing to go outside of yourself, to fail? Because what failure does? I love failure. Failure expands the vessel. Failure takes you from a 20-watt bulb to 1,000 watts. But I failed. We think success means I got what I aimed for. Success is going through the effort, because the effort builds the vessel. How many times has our teachers told us? It's interesting. We've had many students. In the last 20 years, we've taken care of a lot of people. And sometimes you invest so much in them, and nothing comes out. I mean, they resent you.
And by the way, but while David is saying this, it's not that we have an agenda, right? The goal in investing in a person is to get them to their next level of greatness. There's no...
And they don't listen to you.
Or they come and...
They'll be like, in every meeting, they'll come up with the same question. And you're almost thinking, why do I even bother? I'm giving you all of this energy. I'm going through the effort of helping you. And you're the same person. What have our teachers taught us? Don't give up on the person. Because the energy you're investing in them, which is an expansion of your own vessel, means that student number 2 or student number 3 will see tremendous miracles. Without even, because think about it, my students seeing a miracle, it's more about, do I deserve to have a student that sees miracles? Because it's a very rewarding thing to have a student. It's like seeing your son, seeing your own children become successful. Who is it more rewarding for when your child is successful? For the parent or for the child? It's more so for the parent. That means that the parent needs to have the vessel to have a child that is successful. It's a big secret. So no energy goes to waste. So don't be afraid to fail, because whether you fail or succeed, the objective is achieved, which is the expansion of the vessel.
I could listen to David talk about that for hours. However, what one of the tiny hidden nuggets in what you just said, I think needs to be developed more. I don't think that we realize the impact of our energy. And I think especially in the last couple of years, where our outlets for energy, for receiving energy have changed, and our outlets for giving energy have changed. For example, you might have been somebody who participates in a really active community, spiritual community, philanthropic community, whatever. You're not going to the same events, activities, etc. And I think that a lot of the times, appropriate your example with students, first of all, energy is never lost. There's no such thing as wasted energy. By the way, that's another fun thing to try and teach your kids, David, as soon as they're old enough, that when they make an effort towards something and it doesn't happen, the disappointment that they experience, and you're telling them energy is never lost, energy is never wasted. Even though you didn't win X, Y, or Z, it's going to come back at you, to you in another way. It's very hard when you don't have that instant response. It doesn't come back to them right away. It's a very difficult lesson to teach. But the idea is that every thought, every word, and every action that we do has impact. Not only butterfly effect impact, right? That the butterfly flapping its wings in Wichita can cause a tornado in Japan, but we don't really get to see the impact of our energy. And that's one of the reasons that it is so essential that our intention is that we're working to purify our intentions. I can't say that we can always say, I always have pure intentions, but my goal is to constantly be purifying my intentions. And I'll give you a really good example. I had the opportunity to confront somebody about something, and I went through many stages of intention. And I hope that that there's people out there who can relate to this. I went through, okay, I'm going to confront because I don't like confronting. And I know that it's going to reveal light for me. Now, even though my goal is to get outside of my comfort zone, it's still a relatively low level of intention, right? I'm thinking about how it's going to serve me. I'm using the other person as a vehicle for my own personal growth. So I said, you know what? Not a good reason. I've got to get to a higher level. And this is my way of describing what it means to purify your intention. The next thought was, you know what? Yes, I need to confront and it will be good for me. But I think it will also be good for the other person to hear what's going on, to give some feedback, not because I want them to change, not because I need something from them, but you know what? It may also benefit them to hear from someone who cares about them that they could have done things better. That's another level, right? I'm not only thinking about myself, I'm thinking about how to positively influence others. Eventually, I got to the place where I said, you know what? I don't need to confront. I got both the uncomfortable feeling already. I know I'm going to trust that the other person had good intentions. And you know what? If I need to have the conversation with the other person, I'll have it. But I was no longer in the I need to do something with this energy of it started with I need to get rid of this energy, or I need to do something with this energy. And it ended up being, I'm really willing. If the light thinks it's the right thing to do, I'll do it. But if not, I already went through it, and I'm sending that person the good energy and vibes and intentions and love, as if we had the conversation and we got closer. And so my point in sharing this is also that the process that I went through benefited the other person, even though we didn't need to have the conversation. We need to realize that our energy is actually more impactful than any physical effort we might exercise. Doesn't mean that what David said before about the effort is the vessel. It is. And the internal effort that I made, I know you guys don't know me, but that was actually more effort than any conversation would have been. The process of me, the realizations I went through about myself, the working on my own agenda and attachment to them treating me this way or that or being this way, it all dissolved. It was like there was nothing even to discuss. And the awareness that all of the opportunities that come to us, and I hope that everybody's going to be looking for this week, the opportunities that come to us are all there for us to get to our next level. The fact that they may involve another person, when you're looking at the situation, erase the bodies and the physical space and just look at the energy. There is a situation that is making me feel this way or that. what can I do about it? How can I change it? How can I grow from it? That will lead you to the physical resolution. But asking the energetic questions first is actually the most effective way to shift, control, alt delete, or whatever else you feel you need to do to the situation, because it's all there to help you change your energy, which is what it means to get to the next level.
And I'll say one last thing, that is the energy. It's a repackaged version of what I just said. The energy you receive in your life has nothing to do with the energy. What you feel in life has only to do with how you condition your vessel to receive it. There's no shortage of energy. There's shortage of vessel. There's a shortage of vessels in this world. If you have the vessel, the energy will be revealed to you. If you do not have the vessel, the energy stays as what's called surrounding light, which is unrevealed energy that pushes you and pressures you, which sometimes translates into stress and anxiety. Stress and anxiety is just energy knocking at your door, telling you, hey, wake up, change something about yourself, I'm ready to come in. A person who is single, thinks like a single person, acts like a single person, behaves like a single person, shares like a single person, has the vessel of a single person. So relationship energy is knocking at your door, but can never come in to the vessel of a single person. So a single person has to start thinking like a married person, like a person in a relationship. And at the very least, being open to that is what lets the energy in. And it's funny because once that energy comes in, it really does a good job of expanding the vessel more. You know, if you want to know how to grow, you really don't grow being single. It's because you can always opt out. You can hit the opt out button, like unsubscribe. Like you have challenges during the day. You can just say, I unsubscribe to you. I unsubscribe to you. But when your 4-year-old is just reflecting in your face, and you can't be like, I unsubscribe my 4-year-old. He is there to stay. And so is, and by the way, this is why the divorce is rampant, because at some point it's either you change or you divorce. There's no you cannot stay the same. So that's what's beautiful about relationships. It also expands the vessel. You want to surround yourself with people, with energies, with dynamics that expand you, that guide you. How many books talk about the secret to success is radical candor? Almost every book has a chapter about be honest, communicate. It's hard to hear it. So what? Say it. Obviously say it respectfully. And everyone talks about communicate. So at the end of the day, don't blame anything outside of you. If you don't feel the way you want to feel, the feeling is there. It's ready to come in. Something's got to be changed about the vessel.
Can I ask you one quick question before we go?
Yeah.
How do you know your energy is having an impact? Meaning, we've had conversations in the past where we talk about, just because you don't see results, don't give up. But now we're talking on an energetic level. How do we measure whether something is worth our effort and energy when we don't see results?
What's interesting, this reminds me of a secret we learned on Passover. Anybody who wants their energy to make an impact, the energy doesn't make an impact. When you're looking for your energy to make an impact, your energy is staying in potential. As soon as you look the other way and you stop tracking what you're doing, and you stop keeping score on how impactful you are, like my impactful score for the day, that's when the energy starts to become alive and do its magic. If you're looking at it, it's kind of like those floaters in your eye. If you're trying to find it and measure it and examine it, try to count the floaters. They run away from you. So you always feel like not good enough, and then you have all this guilt and shame. If you want to make impact, stop trying to make impact. Stop trying to keep score of what your impact is.
Well, to me, that's again about purifying your intention. If you're keeping score, you're attached. You're watching to see how valuable you are or how much good you've done. Knowing that, to me, is like has to be the music in the background playing all the time, is that your energy is never lost. So even if the other person doesn't respond the way you want them to respond, even if the other person doesn't appreciate or isn't grateful or doesn't listen to the advice you're giving them, that energy doesn't go to waste. Waiting for the thank you, the appreciation, the miracle for the other person doesn't serve you, because it means then you're somewhat limiting how far that energy can go. And I could give you a million examples. David could give you a million examples. But the truth is that it's really something that once you start to put it into practice, that's really when the miracles start to take over. One thing I do want to point out, many times on the Weekly Energy Boost, we share about windows in time. And that's also for a whole other episode. And we've done it before on other episodes. But we try to point out during the course of the week or the month powerful energy opportunities. And that's energy that's windows in time that have been woven into the fabric of the universe, which means that this opportunity, this energy has been released every day, every year on this day since the universe began. Today is, if you're listening on Monday, today is one such day. The Kabbalists call it Tu Bishvat. It's really just the 15th of the month of Aquarius on the Kabbalistic calendar. I am aware that we're still in the month of Capricorn on the Gregorian in conventional astrology. But on the Kabbalistic calendar, we're in the month of Aquarius. Today, Monday, is the full moon in the month of Aquarius. And this is the day on which the vegetable kingdom receives all of its energy. Now, why is that interesting for us? First of all, as the human kingdom, we are nourished by the plant kingdom heavily. Even if we are carnivorous, chances are we eat more things that grow in the ground and on trees than we do animal products. Or I guess I would hope that for us, right? So what's unique about the plant kingdom is that it grows against gravity. And what we want to borrow from our plant kingdom friends is the ability to grow against our gravity. We've been talking about that, obviously, since the beginning of the episode, going against our nature, stretching outside our comfort zone, the effort that David was talking about that builds the vessel for the revelation of energy of anything that we do. Today is a powerful day to do that. We simply do it by acknowledging if you have something that you can eat that grows on a tree, and do it with the consciousness of ingesting that energy of being able to grow against your own gravity, your own selfishness, your own self-concern, and use that ability to grow against gravity for the sake of not only your own blossoming, but also for your innate ability to have impact on the world, whether it's with your energy, your thoughts, your words, your actions. To me, it's a beautiful day, and the teaching that the Kabbalists provide around this is beautiful. I usually say that Kabbalah is the original environmentalism. There's so many beautiful teachings around taking care of the earth and nature, and so this is one of them. So even if you're listening Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on, take a moment this week. It's definitely a part of this week's energy to celebrate the natural world and to borrow from that energy of both growing against gravity and also really serving. That's one of the amazing things about the plant kingdom is it's a very service-oriented kingdom and doesn't have that same selfish and self-preservation mode of operations that we have as humans, and that even the animal kingdom has that self-preservation. So on that note, have a fabulous week, of course. I want to remind everybody that we are, you can still sign up for the Kabbalah 1 course that began on the 19th, right? Began on the 19th. I think we have a QR code that you can see on the video in a second. If it's not there, go to weeklyenergyboost.com. Weeklyenergyboost.com has the link to sign up for Kabbalah 1. It has our episode archive, our social media links. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Weekly Energy Boost. You can reach out to us, share with us your questions, your ideas for topics, and we're really there just to help out in whatever way we can. Have a fabulous week, and we'll see you next time on the Weekly Energy Boost.